Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 1 2 3. Awesome, fantastic. Thank you, Atlam. My mic was not working right off the bat, and I had to unplug it and replug it back in. I think this thing's on its way out. It does this like every stream. So, you know, you let me know when Steam goes live. I am not seeing it as of yet. I see TikTok, I see Twitch. Sure that Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the others are live, but Steam just hasn't refreshed yet. Stand by. And I just want to make sure the camera looks good there. A little bit of cutoff. Oh, it's you're right. I need to buy one, but it'll do for now. Speaking of Black Friday, I have no idea if we're gonna be on sale or not. I asked and got no information. They're trying to find out. Sometimes we don't even find out until like the day of, so kind of a bummer. But it is what it is. How you doing, Atlam? How was your weekend? There we go. Steam feed just came up for me. Took a minute. Cat for face. So, I have a cat who really loves just getting snugs. You know what I mean? On Temu. Oh no. Oh no. You know, ultimately, if I need a new mic for sure, I'm sure, you know, work will allow me to expense it so I can get something a little bit better than a Temu level. Hey Mondu, how you doing? Nothing against Temu, but there is like a whole meme against Temu and Wish for a reason. So, welcome back, everyone, to Mapmaker Monday. My name is Mac. I am the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Sorry for the late start. Had some trouble with the mic. Got it all sorted. I think we're all fixed and running good right now. Just want to take a moment to say hello to each of you. Excuse me, sorry. Had a little pinch up in my neck there. So, throughout the stream today on Mapmaker Monday, we will be focusing on building a map on the stream. This particular map we've been building over the last few streams. Once every week on Monday for the last month or two. This map is a massive 82 by 82 currently. It may get larger before we finish. And if you look at it in a top down, it's coming along quite well. We have one little cemetery plot here, another cemetery plot here. This one's more generic, this one's more fancy. We have some roads, parking area, and a massive cathedral with a beautiful garden surrounding it. That's something we kind of wrapped up recently. Sorry, I got a bit of congestion up here, so if I sound a little funky, that's why. But if you can see here, there is a lovely garden surrounding and a pathway statues, etc., all the way around this cathedral. Inside the cathedral, we have some seating, a 2-story, or actually 3-story bell tower, and a confessional booth with a secret passage. Hey Jab, welcome back. Dude, Mondu, I'm glad. So what was the issue? Did they let you know what was going on? Atlam, I am getting Steam as well, thank you. Well, I knew something was up on the SSD end, whether it was the port or the actual SSD itself, for sure. Glad they got it sorted and you're working now. You've gotten longer than 4-hour sessions, I'm assuming? I think we're going to replace all these lights with these or something similar. Trying to pick something. Doesn't seem like there's anything that would fit this aesthetic. Maybe I could just pick a lantern or a torch and then mount it to this. Trying to add some light in this space because I noticed at night it's quite dark in here. Oh my. Yeah. You know, scenes from your stream software. If you have a stream deck, you'll have to export the profiles. Like, there's so many different things to do when you transfer a computer or back up and reload a computer. Lord Rev, what? What do you mean? You talking about the dam challenge, I'm assuming? Candelabra could work. Yeah, my man, I am sorry. You know, you can't win them all, but your map was quite beautiful. Unfortunately, while I was trying to showcase your map, I got bombarded by a bunch of support requests, so I started getting distracted. Didn't really get a whole lot of time to look at it on the stream, so I apologize for that. I do really love your entry. It was quite beautiful. Don't take it personal that you didn't win. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner every 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Well, I'm glad that you're inspired. But yeah, I'm open to suggestions on light here. I think a candelabra could do good here, but like, I feel the pillars could be utilized for light. We get some kind of torch, excuse me, or a lamp. These always brighten up a lot of area. And we could just, you know, snap one in there. Call it a day. I just like these pillars. They match the stonework well. And so I think I'm just going to put a lamp on each of them and call it a day. It's not perfect, but from top down it looks rather well. I guess that light's rather pale. F. Need something a little bit brighter. Let's try a torch. These tend to be a little bit oomfier. Yeah, they have a little bit bigger light profile. Hmm. Hmm. Candelabras are good too. Let's take a look and see what we got here. These can put out a lot of light and really not bother anyone. Rotate one and put it there. It's a great suggestion there, Mondu. Of course. That's probably a good idea too. I'm just gonna put a few candelabras as a cheat, you know, just to get some quick light. Because I feel like they'll definitely help make it pop. And I like my cathedrals to pop. You look at it from this angle here, already a lot more light. These ones are also great. You can just kind of put one like right here. Don't seem to put out nearly as much light as the previous candelabra though. This one is a monster with light. Okay, so let's go with a hanging light option. Let's see here. A brazier, not gonna work. I guess wall mounted is the best. It's just too dim. Far too dim. Far too dim. Candles, it's like I might as well just not even do it. Try a couple no. Yeah. Let's avoid candles. Let's try some torches. It's pretty good light spread. I'm sure different torches. Yeah, that skeletal torch is quite bright. So a torch could definitely work in this instance. Seems a little risky in a church. Big chapel like this. What do you think? So for those just joining, we're trying to pick a light source. Hey, Whacked Galaxy, thank you for the follow. Sorry I didn't notice that sooner. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Let's try a few different lamps. These have like an aura. That one's more consistent. I like that. Nope. Let's try some candelabras. Or some chandeliers, if we will. Doesn't seem to cast much light until it's lower, and by then it's like useless. What I could do is put one of these on each of them. Torch on a pillar would look cool. Thank you, Artful Darkness. I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I'm hoping they're getting a rethink for the next update with ceilings and all, you know what I mean? Even the torches don't seem to cast a lot of light. Now, man, it seems like our light options are less than... That one's okay, but it's like really localized. That one's okay, but it's kind of like a halo. Those globes are all right. That's actually not too bad because I could put it on either side. I'm trying to put something actual, like, decorative, though. You know what I mean? How you doing, Asmodeus? Welcome back, my man. What you been up to today? That actually looks really nice. Work? I'm sorry. They're keeping you busy. Did you hear my idea? I told you? Immediate blockbuster. Oh, I joked about it like a week or two ago in our DMs. It's like just like I was being a complete nerd when I said it. Now I'm just trying to get you to laugh by calling back to the joke. I don't think you even noticed it at the time. I actually really like this. I think this looks clean. Not like perfect or anything. But it is good enough. I think it looks great. Kodiak Island, dang. That's cool. It's dope. But I could fit these on the pillar like this and really just put out like a good amount of light from them all the way around. Thank you, Rev, for feeding into my delusions. I really just wanted something that would work with these pillars and like kind of fit into the aesthetic, but add some moderate light. Once I do all the pillars, it'll look really good. Little bit of work, but worth it. Oh man, I definitely can't put that there. Candelabras are a great idea too. Kodiak Island. So, like, I'm assuming it's named Kodiak because, like, bears. Yeah, it looks pretty clean, doesn't it? Another nice thing about this light source is it's not like a drowning one that, like, when you export it to a VTT, it won't be too much. When I start making like builds like this, I get hyper fixated on stuff like this. So sorry if I'm not like extra talkative at the moment. If y'all have questions, suggestions, feedback, please let me know and I will chime in. Wouldn't it be like really, really cold on Kodiak Island, man? Dang, like why are you going there? That sounds insane. Hey Remy, how are you? And maybe he's going birding or something. Who knows? It could be like something extreme. Recon? What? For like, oh, okay. I'm putting some pieces together. I'm prepping for some Hitman mission. That's great. I actually think that's hilarious. I.e. research for a potential film. Happy Feet 3. Just kidding, that's dream. How about some movie about bears? My guess. I think that adds like a lot of oomph. Is it rainy today for you? It's really chilly for me. I look outside, it looks really like overcast and cold. I don't like it. The rest of the year, I hate Vegas weather this time, you know, because it's too hot. This time of year, I hate it because it's getting too cold. Hmm. Okay, let's look at this in a top down. The lighting spread's pretty good. I think we need something on these and maybe something here. It just feels too dark. Maybe some more pillars. But overall, that was a good idea. Pillars really helped. Oh my gosh. Well, like about half the year it's hot, so hot, right? And then the desert during the winter is just freezing. I don't know. There's like a few pocket moments, like a month or two each year, where it's great, but everything in between is just absolutely awful. So, yeah, you're probably right. Add a few of these lanterns here. Ow. You know, I'm watching the TikTok feed. It seems fine. But thank you for the heads up. Dyson, right? Isn't it like that? It's pretty much like there's no seasons. It's either extreme hot or extreme cold. One or the other. I'm sorry you're having trouble there, Atlam, but thank you for the feedback, my man. Oh my god, the wind. Yes. So I live in like a gated neighborhood, which is nice, you know, get a bit of privacy. Like you don't get as many door-to-door salesmen. Despite this, I still get a ton of porch piracy. I think there's some kids in the neighborhood that just like steal everything, right? Don't want to point fingers because I like don't know. I don't even have a security. I should get one, but like I feel like that's extra like invasive. I don't know. Anyway, I I enjoy my neighborhood to a degree, but the wind every week seems to blow all of my neighborhood's trash into my driveway. My driveway seems to catch it like a net. And like I'm out there every week picking up like a big like trash bag's worth of trash. I'll just pull out my trash can, just throw it right in there because it gets so awful. I'm located in Vegas, no one. Thank you for asking. The wind just gets really awful here. So in my neighborhood, it just ends to catch in my particular corner like a big net. I think I'm just that lucky. I honestly I appreciate the feedback on TikTok, you know, like as a platform, I think as a streaming platform it's growing. We live in a big valley like a bowl, right? So it catches like water and wind hecka good. They have all these like basins and like underwater like systems to catch water so it doesn't flood the whole valley. And if they're not like maintained well, like yeah, definitely it would be bad here. Underground in Vegas is a whole system of tunnels and like oh my gosh, it's crazy. But the thing is like I put my trash in bags, I put it in the trash can, cover it, but there's a few people in my neighborhood who don't do that. They just kind of throw their trash loosely in their trash can, leave it full over the top, and then when it gets dumped, some of it falls, and then it just ends up inevitably in my driveway. It's annoying. And I sound like a boomer complaining about it, but it's like, man, it's not my trash, but I have to pick it up every week. So does this cathedral look pretty good overall lighting wise? Do you all feel like it's good? Should I add a little bit more lighting over here? I guess I could add a couple of these torches. Like, let's turn the snapping on. It'll probably hit right on the wall immediately. There. And maybe a candelabra here or something. Lighting is important to me on all builds. I always want to make sure the build feels like very... Whoa. Thought we were doing one of these. Well, I like at night to have at least reasonable lighting, you know? Candles on the ground near and on the chairs. I don't know about that. That seems like a fire hazard. It is a good suggestion overall. I just think this area should be well lit because it's like a maintained space. I do agree though, Mondu. Lighting is very important in any map. Ultimately, outside of the space and inside of like the graveyard, maybe a few candles there would totally make sense. Like just sitting on the ground lit, that actually seems reasonable. And something like this next to a grave. This is like someone came and paid tribute to that, you know, person. You know, Remy, that's a good question. Um, Lighting for new interiors. I mean, I imagine it'll be really similar to the existing system. But you know, each interior space will obviously be separated by this new, like, bounding box, i.e., the ceiling and the ground, everything all around it. And as a result of which, I'm hoping this will allow for, you know, levels in a building that are separate and indicative of more danger or, you know, different moods. Mausoleum idea, that sounds good for the there, Asmodeus. I'm open to feedback on lighting here because I want to go through and like really fine tune the lighting across the graveyards before I start jumping into new stuff. But like we started putting a few things earlier as suggestions, like coins. Oh, we have an Eliza hiding over here somewhere on this gravestone. She just is, you know, stealing souls or whatever she does in her spare time. I mean, every grave is special to someone. Hey, Michelle, welcome back. How you doing? Let's see here. I wish we had like flowers that were in like a you know, like a bundle. You know, something you'd lay on a grave. I guess we could put them in like a vase. Man, these vases look like something somebody would want to steal. Let's look at, I think we have some like ceramic ones that could probably work under food or something. Something like this. Could put some of these, oh, that was way too large. Let's pick a flower type. I need something thin though, so I'll just shrink it down. Turn off collisions, shrink that bad boy down and put it in the pot like that. It is, that makes sense, Remy. So, what other things would you see on graves? Dyson, I agree. I think Eliza's the devil, but you know, some people think she's just the bee's knees. So, I try to like appeal to the greater audience. Okay, so jewelry, pictures. Okay. Okay. The thing is most of our pictures are like wall-mounted paintings. I wonder, do we have like a framed picture that's like one that's just like sitting on a desk? I feel like we don't. Hey, Half Ogre, how you doing, my man? You know what? Actually, my person. I shouldn't have assumed like that. You know, you can resize wall objects using some trickery. You want to know the trickery? Mondu's on board with this. So there's many wall-mounted objects like this or have this like fixed size. You can't resize them, correct? California dude. Sweet. You know what? I love California. My wife grew up, born and raised in California. My mother, my grandfather, like a lot of my family's from California. So I spend time there from time to time visiting, and I really enjoy it. You know, that's true, Rev. The item could have been special to someone. Really quickly, before I move on, I want to teach y'all this trick. So wall-mounted objects, right? You can mount them on a wall. So I'm going to put a freestanding wall here, which is a wall that can be placed anywhere, right? Let's grab something that cannot be resized, like a painting. This one's having trouble mounting to this wall. Let's turn collisions on. It'll probably snap right on. There we go. So if you notice here, I snapped this painting onto the wall. And the wall, when I disable collisions, can be resized. This is something that a painting can't normally do, but a wall can't normally do, but a freestanding wall, you could take advantage of this. For some reason, I can't select the painting again because its hitbox is obscured. It's probably completely gone. Sometimes it's easier with things like lamps and stuff. You know, I have mentioned that to the devs that our graves seem entirely like Christianity coded, which is kind of weird in a fantasy setting when there's so many deities. I think with time they hope to address this, and like obviously the workshop integration will help tremendously, where you have the asset importer and people can bring in whatever they want. But for now, I will say that, yeah, the invisible abstract works too. So you can grab an abstract wall, right? Something like this plane or a wall. You place that, right? And then you attach, say, a lantern to it that's a wall-mounted one. Say you wanted this one. If collisions are on, this bad boy will snap right on there. Next, you can insert a blank PNG, which is just a PNG with nothing in it. You can do a 1-pixel PNG as well. I've heard that saves tremendous amount of data, like file size. But notice here, the wall is invisible, but the torch resizes and still floats. It's kind of neat. It's some trickery for sure. Freestanding walls are like a really fun tool. You can make city walls with them, all sorts of stuff. It is cool, right, Half Ogre? I honestly really love that. I don't think transparent or like see-through stuff is functional at this time on abstracts. You would kind of have to like taper, you know what I mean? Having like solid and then just lighter colors to transparent. Yep. Basically, it kind of has to be one or the other. Okay, so moving on to the build. I kind of want to extend this road to the end here so I know where the edge of this area is. And then I think I'm going to put some graves here, but I think I'll make this the graveside of saints. Like, i.e., like prominent, figures in the church for this cathedral. It's a small grave site, not tons of them, but you can pass through it to the road. And then over here, I'm going to start doing varied graves. I think I was going to start with like very simple graves, pauper graves. And then I was going to transition into some really fancy graves that are like terraced and raised up. And there's like only one grave up on the like highest hill and maybe a few below. Something like that. And then over here is going to be the groundskeeper cabin. Or like the caretaker for the, the big area here. So he would have like a little cottage and maybe like a garden and a shed full of tools. Let's put some lighting over here too. So we need, I think we were gonna go with braziers, whatever they're called. I don't know how to pronounce it. These ones look fancy. Make them smaller, that way I can fit them. You're speaking my language there, Remy. That adds some definite pop to the mausoleums for sure. On top of one, like on top of like this? Oops. Let's take a look. Purple flame, red flame, white flame. Make it brighter. I like the purple flame. Nope, the coals are always the same. But we can put some candles and stuff over here too, by the way. Candles are just timeless. Put a few there. Over here. Of course, they don't recognize that as a surface. Take a look in top down, see what we're seeing here. We don't need light everywhere, just a little bit, you know? Probably add a couple braziers to the back area, kind of balance it out. Too many. Let's alternate them. This one here has a removable roof. You can put lights inside too. At the end of the day, though, I don't know how practical it is. I'll put a couple sensors. Pretty cool, though. Thinking some coins or like different, like, I don't know. This is gated, so we could put a little bit fancier stuff on the graves. I'm open to suggestions. I'll leave it open to the forum while I kind of look through things. I was thinking some coins and treasure, obviously, and jewelry, stuff like that. Gems. That looks fancy. Could signify all is like, you know, I don't know, different comrades from battle or something. Isn't that what soldiers do in the U.S. Army? They leave coins, varied coins, to signify rank and stuff. You know, I like to think that someone in that role is likely someone of that caliber. Retired adventurer makes sense. Kaihira. Isn't that the status of all graveyards? I like putting these finer details, though. It really brings the graveyard to life. There's a little guest list right there, so people can sign when they visit this grave. Let's put some more flowers, eh? Just put stuff like this on top of it, and it just looks like someone dropped it there. Maybe put like a... Got these baskets and stuff. These various, like... Something like this pot could be good. Looks like it's coming out of it there. Raise it up a little bit. That there, and that there. I want a lot of little stuff at this graveyard to make it seem like it's been, you know, it's being visited. Guest list, right? You like that, Michelle? I try to make laughs when I can. Ooh, canopic jars. Let's have some fun with those. We need to put canopic jars in these. Is it canopic or canopic? One or two? Let me hear your preference. We can also just put some of these in there. Here I am thinking it's spelled with a C, Rev. So, you know, I could be just completely off base here. No pick. So I base my pronunciation on Stargate, so whatever they said in SG1 is what I believe. Now that being said, it could be completely wrong. I was open to being wrong. Like, I don't mind it. I really do like learning. And that's like, you know, being wrong means you can learn from it. So I feel like they might have stored whatever they could get of them in these things. Like, maybe they didn't have, like, all their body. And so they just put that there, you know? Which is kind of messed up, but it's like, you know, they're trying to, like... show reverence in a way. So I want to put some decoration in these too. We've got jars all up and through them. What other things? Coins, candles, obviously. Kobold skull. That's a dragon skull. But you know what? Like, we could put a kobold skull in there. We can make it a kobold skull. I agree. I'm not against it. Hello, I cooperated. Excuse me. Bags of teeth seem kind of morbid, don't they? Bags and jars. I was thinking like a weapon would be okay though, like a I don't know. Ooh. Jewelry is good. Like, I could be wrong basing it off of what SG1 says. Don't get me wrong. Like, but SG1 is pretty dope. Ooh, a beer mug is a good idea. Because a lot of people like to pour one out for the homies, you know what I mean? Or some wine, too. So we could do like a bottle of wine and a mug. Got a few different mug choices here. I like the empty mug. I'm thinking of just leaving something like this on the side. Like, you know, someone came and just left it. Putting the beer mug inside there seems like a weird choice, but we could. I also like leaving little random items like this that could be like a possible trigger for like a side quest or something. Your players like constantly drive the narrative by being obsessed with things you never anticipated. And honestly, I like putting stuff like random little things that they might get fixated on that I could just make like part of the story. Kegger at the graveyard is a good idea. I do want to do more flowers, jewelry, pottery. What other suggestions? Books. Scrolls could be good. Like a scroll in there, something like that. I don't necessarily trust it. I'm just saying where I learned it. The American school system failed me and many others. Okay. Let's put some candles in here. Ooh, a timepiece could be good. Like in the oh, like a decorative piece somewhere, like on like a I don't know, like a stand or something. I'm gonna put this over here, and we'll reference it later when we're doing more building. I want more flowers. I want more just kind of little things to show like people have been visiting the graves and paying their respects. Coins and jewelry are a good, simple touch. Tiny statues. Okay. Like, where would I put the tiny statues? I definitely know someone's going to have sticky fingers in a party and they're just going to steal all this stuff. They'll be like Bender and their pockets will be full before they can leave. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I think I'm finally sick of stealing. And then the party will be like, who are you? I do want to put more in here. Let's put some plants. Flowers, if you will. Uh-oh, don't crash. You know what? That just reminded me. Let's save. It's been a hot minute since I've saved. Hey, Jab, thank you for hanging out, my man. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Hey, see you later, Ogre. Hopefully you catch us before we end. I definitely want to put some light over here, so before I forget, let's put some candles, little things tucked in. Because it can add light to the hall, but not be too insane. We can even do some, like, warmer light. Kind of lighten it up a little bit. Heck, I could even tuck it into things to make them ominous. Let's do a couple of these. Gosh, I love candles. These are great. Medallions, jewelry are great. I'm definitely open to those. We could do like a crown on a grave. Like one of these nicer ones like this. Oops. Oops. Nope. Is that too much? Maybe that would be in a mausoleum. What do you think? We could always pop the roof. Oh, to grab the plant there. Honestly, I see this as a cemetery that, yeah, there is like a clergy over here, right? And a caretaker who is likely a retired adventurer. I think stealing from the graves would also be frowned upon by the locals. So you're probably putting yourself in a bad situation robbing it unless you go through like extra steps to protect your identity and hide. I do think overall the general motif of this town is people can leave stuff there and it's safe until a certain point that the clergy removes it to clean the grave and use it as like a donation. Like an annual cleanup or something. You know what I mean? I don't think it would be wise of adventurers to just go looting this place. But at the same time, I could see it being very enticing. That's the kind of the point. It's designed to be a little bit of a trap, but also like, you know, can the adventurers behave themselves for a day while being in this place for a funeral? Thank you for reminding Atlam. I do want to just speak up about that. So I don't know why, but when the daylight savings rolled around and all the time zone shift and stuff, all of the events in Discord get really messed up. I have to put in all their graphics again, change their times around. But one of them reset all the RSVPs. The weekly Discord stream, the office hour stream every Wednesday. If you were RSVP to that, your reminder is not happening anymore. So this is a reminder to you. Click on the link that basically can allow you to RSVP to the event and get a reminder, a little notification in your Discord app when the stream goes live. Unfortunately, there was like 50 plus people RSVP to that, and I feel bad because they're missing out on this event, and I know they were interested in it. So for those of you that may have been RSVP'd, please, use this as an opportunity to remind yourself to do so. In the Discord, under the events, the office hour stream, the RSVPs or the interested button, all of them got reset. So definitely take advantage of that. And if you want to catch some of our, weekly streams and you like this stream, you want to catch another stream in the future, every Wednesday we host a stream exclusively to our Discord called Office Hours. That stream is more of a laid-back stream, but we do provide support, real-time guidance, and, answer questions AMA style. And we kind of just hang out and discuss other GM's campaigns, map makers, different projects and whatnot. Like a lot of times we'll provide guidance for a GM who maybe is looking for ideas around an encounter or a loot table or, homebrew stats, etc. It's always fun to kind of chat and go over those things as a group, because sometimes bouncing them off of other people is all you really need to really make sure that they're, what you were thinking. I gotta put a golden sausage somewhere. I think I'm gonna put it over here. These graves need more decor. Let's put like a chess piece somewhere. The chess piece out. Oh my gosh, it's tiny. A little bit bigger. Let's maybe put some like a helmet or something, because it signifies like a grave of like a soldier. We could even hang it like on the grave. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. Notice there's a little grave stuck in that grave. What is going on here? I think that's a nice touch. Oh my. That's a big hammer. Correct. I'm gonna put one of these daggers over here. Small, useless decoration, but cool. I'm all about the flair. Put a few weapons on these little guys, these little stones here, because they seem to be kind of bare. Put like an axe. Something like that, right? This morning star would be cool. Maybe over here. Shrink it down a little bit. Again, more coins. Coins seem to be like a go-to. Really simple. We could also do some jewels. Something like that. Mask of Seisu, isn't that like cursed? Could put some plants on the other side of this pathway here, like some statues. Okay, what do we got here? We could do some of these Lady of Darkness things. That. Around this, so it really adds to the allure. I could also scale it up before I do this. I know you said statues earlier, so I'm trying to like fit in all these little things that have been suggested. There's a lot of ideas. But yeah, little statues look like idols or toys. Scepter. That one? Or that one? Something like that? That looks pretty good. Rotate it. Nice. Putting some flowers around the tree. I think some more ivy is a good idea too, because we could put it like up the mausoleums like this. Okay. Hobo Gaming, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to the Damn Fam. I hope you're enjoying your stay on the stream. If you have any questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, feel free to ask. My name is Mac. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist, so feel rather qualified to answer your questions or concerns. So if you're running a D&D campaign, Dungeon Alchemist is a very great complementary tool to add to your tool belt as a DM. Not only is it great for, making maps for whether it's in playing in person, so maybe you want to print your maps, that's an option with Dungeon Alchemist. Do you play in person on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop? That's also an option with Dungeon Alchemist. Additionally, we offer exports that directly support a numerous virtual tabletops, such as Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Foundry, Above VTT, and a few others that support the Universal VTT format or UVTT. You play on Roll20, so that's great. So we support Roll20 natively. Do you use Roll20 Basic or Pro by chance? So with Roll20, Roll20 has a kind of a pay like a payment structure for their website. and they offer a free base. This is for anyone curious that, it's free to use, but it has kind of limitations. You can only import like an image for your maps, no data for the map. And data is important if you want, say, the lighting, line of sight, walls, windows, doors, stuff like that. So with a pro membership of Roll20, and this is nothing we have any control over, this is their business model, you can access their add-ons, modules, plugins, scripts is what they call them. And every company has a similar thing to this, but they're all kind of labeled separately. But there is a script we offer with Roll20 that you can import into your chat, and it allows you to import all the lighting, line of sight, windows, walls, doors, etc. So when you import a map from Dungeon Alchemist to Roll20, it saves you a tremendous amount of time in blocking out all that information for your players. Additionally, I would like to point out, if you're kind of sitting on the fence and you want to try it out, we offer a demo on Steam. You can download it for free. It's a modest demo. I think it's less than 7 gigs total. I think it's like 6.7 gigs last I checked. And that allows you to test out the forest biome. You can build a tavern in the forest biome, and you can play around with a bunch of objects and different stuff within Dungeon Alchemist. Keep in mind, it is a limited kind of slice of the pie. It's only one of our 13 biomes, a fraction of our thousands of objects. You can export maps, but you can't save them. So you can export for Roll20 and kind of check it out. Oh, you're playing around with a demo right now? Awesome. One kind of limitation of the demo, and I will point this out that it's kind of a bummer. The Steam Workshop tab, when you click Browse Maps or Assets, you can't see anything. It's blank. There are... When you purchase Dungeon Alchemist, you get access to a repository of over 10,000 maps, and this grows daily. These are maps shared by our community, by people who have spent, dozens, if not hundreds of thousands of hours making maps in Dungeon Alchemist, perfecting their skills and, really kind of pushing it to the limit. A lot of these maps are top-notch. Some are even set in very popular themes and modules like Lost Mines of Phandelver, Strahd, etc. So you can search really popular themes and find maps within those. Either use them or use them as a foundation or as inspiration. There is 10,000 plus maps, but also assets. And sorry I kind of got derailed and I'm teaching Hobo Gaming, but they're interested, so I want to let them know. As the community manager, I feel it's my obligation to guide them and educate them on this while they're looking. The workshop offers over 6,500 3D models that have been shared that expand upon the fantasy set, but also expand into, say, sci-fi, cyberpunk, modern, etc. So you can start building maps in other aesthetics using these assets. So, Hobo Gaming, I will tell you this, if you're on the fence, definitely, play around with the demo, try it out, watch the streams, ask people questions here in chat, ask me questions, I'm here to guide you. But I mean, a lot of people here were like you once. They were kind of on the fence and decided to get Dungeon Alchemist. Some of them have been here since our Kickstarter. So I'd like to open the floor for feedback of anyone who would like to share their insight to Hobo Gaming, whether they, like Dungeon Alchemist, the pros and cons, what you use it for, etc. That way you can get very, honest feedback from the community instead of just someone who is, paid to talk about it. By the way, welcome to our community and our stream. I hope you find it warm here, and we're here to guide you and answer any questions or concerns you have. So I feel this area here has been fleshed out rather well. We have some lighting. We have some, at least people have been visiting the grave sites. Oh, I should do something with these mausoleums, actually, before I leave. I think lighting is very crucial in any map. You need to have a good amount of lighting in certain areas for night areas, if you plan to use the map at night. And lighting can really draw attention to areas too. Hey, Stormy, welcome back. How are you? I'm wonderful, thank you for asking. Excuse me. Now that you ask, I have some hiccups coming on. Oh my goodness. Preparing for the session, nice. Are you making a cool map? Okay, let's put some like flowers and stuff here. Statues, small statues is a great idea. Like an idol. Okay, collisions are off. I'm going to just shrink this down. I'm going to raise it up a little bit and put it on the patio. I want it a little bit bigger though, so you can actually see it. It's just a little bit high. It's hard to tell. Perfect. Another thing I wanted to put on a grave is a loot. I think that's a great addition to a grave. Add some personality to it. Like, oh, you knew this person and maybe you respected them. This could have been their loot. Perfect for bards, exactly. You could also put like a little flute. Doesn't have to be a lute. Flute and loot, both optimal for placing on graves. Take the F out of loot. We got to keep this grave site clean. So we took the F out of... Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, what Sogrum says is true. So you have a token menu where you can access a bunch of free tokens we include with Dungeon Alchemist. And additionally, the tokens have like a little surprise. You can place them down, resize them, and the tokens actually snap to the grid if the grid's visible. They jump between these spaces rather well, especially if you're using like arrows. The arrow keys jump between these quite well. The other thing is this little eyeball right here. I call it the icon. You can click on it, and then it allows you to jump into first person. Then you can walk around through the map as your token. And this is a great way to kind of visualize the map from the perspective of the player. It's taken a while because it's been a minute since I've saved, and this is a massive map, so stand by. This is a very big map. So he died and he split from the group. Do you think the enemy might take his body and use it for nefarious purposes? And or resurrect him just to torture him and get information? But I feel a map looks so much more personal when you're in first person. You can actually record this or take screenshots, and you can stream it even over Discord, or like I am right now on Twitch or numerous platforms, and essentially share this view to your players. So you could follow along what they're doing in first person. I've played in a couple of campaigns where the DM did this, and it was an absolute treat. It allows you to interact with the map in a way that you couldn't normally. Honestly, I think one of the major benefits of Dungeon Alchemist is how quick you can make a map. In fact, me making this map super detailed is not a tribute to that. It's more showing how amazingly detailed it can get. But what I'll do is I'm going to generate a forest here really quickly. Actually, Hobo, since you can generate a forest already, let me show you some of the other biomes and you can pick from it if you don't mind. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you wouldn't mind picking a biome, anything but dark parchment and green screen is ideal for this. Dark parchment is like if you're focusing on the interiors of a map, like the insides of a building. Same with green screen, but it's ideal. You can use it to make like tiles of animated objects or make a stamp of a map of like a building. Using the green screen, you can superimpose other things on top of it or remove the background entirely. So there's all these biomes. You have Badlands, Caves, Desert, Fey Plain, Grasslands, Jungle, Skeletal Plains, and Snow. Uh-oh, so he made a doppelganger, like a copy of the person, maybe a, oh man, interesting. Or the doppelganger of the bad guy. Doppelganger of their friend that they think they're hunting down and trying to save, or doppelganger of the bad guy? Gotcha. Well, before we generate a map, yeah, obviously save, but I don't want to put them on the spot. It doesn't seem like they want to choose, so I'll just pick a biome. I'm going to go with jungle, one of my favorite. And I will set it up with a ravine, a flooded ravine, actually. Let's do that. And then... Thank you, everyone. I did have the autosave, but that is much appreciated. Because I forget sometimes. Let's generate this and see what it looks like. Keep in mind when you make a map 60 by 60 or more, it will give you this warning because Dungeon Alchemist is optimized for smaller maps. As you see here, we just generated that jungle terrain in just moments. All I had to do was pick a couple options and generate it. Boom, goes the dynamite. It's got a nice little river ravine through the center, which makes it a perfect map for a jungle placement. You could throw this pretty much down immediately if you wanted to. Or you could add some detail to it, like a road passing through it with a bridge, maybe a log passing over the ravine. All sorts of options are at your disposal. Remember, if you disable collisions, you have a lot more freedom in how you place things. I like that. That's cool. You can't figure out what to do with your K map. What's your K map again? I like something like this wedged in so it's not like a perfect crossing, so it is dangerous. They have to drop down, they have to climb. Doing the whole... Oh, you know what? I saw that, actually. I was wondering what your theme was on Blue Sky. Very cool. Rev, that is fantastic news. I'm glad to hear that. So Rev says, thank you for the advice on these streams, Mac. It's been super helpful. Oh, and I'll be starting up a Patreon in the coming weeks. That is so cool. I am all for it, and I support you, and I'm proud of you for taking that step, putting yourself out there. I know it takes a lot to do the work and, you know, put yourself out there in front of people and hope for the best. You also, you know, got to advertise and constantly stay at it, especially if you're seeking success in a realm like that. I mean, running away is always an option for the players and the bad guy. And I think people forget this all too often. You know, when people are in a corner and they look like they're going to die, they'll probably try and get away. And a lot of spells can allow that to happen very quickly. Players, like, especially when they're in, like, I don't know, I think it's kind of a new age mentality that, like, running away and fleeing isn't an option because they treat D&D, I think, like a video game a little bit. Because you can just respawn. You got a new character, right? I do think that there needs to be consequences sometimes when your players are, like, foolhardy and are fine with their PCs dying. You know what I mean? Some players are a little bit more cautious, and I appreciate that. There's got to be a fine balance, though, between, like, assessing every inch of a room for traps and worrying about their character dying versus, say, throwing their player characters to the wind because they know they have a player sheet, like a character sheet, in, you know, all ready to go. I wonder what negative consequences you could implement on your players for playing haphazardly. Yeah, having a bad guy escape is great because they can double their efforts, right? They can raise more troops, maybe find better magical items, or get leveled up themselves and have more abilities. So, and they already learned how the players fight, so they can kind of counter that better in the time ahead. So the players should be wary of this. There could be traps laid ahead for them to slow them down. There could be hirelings, bandits, etc., trying to track them down, you know, because this bad guy is trying to slow them down and throw, you know, all sorts of things in the way. I think having them escape is a good plot device, too. Okay, let's get back to the build. Rev, are you taking off? Or are you just saying thank you? Well, you know what? I appreciate the kindness, my friend. Maybe I could put this over here, like on a pedestal or something. I've been trying to figure out what to do with this dead space for a minute, and it's kind of driving me crazy. And we have all these neat pedestals, right? So I could do something like this. Maybe make it a little bit larger, sink it in the ground a little bit, and then put that up on top. Just a nice little decorative piece here. Hey, Michelle, thank you for being here. We'll see you later, my friend. You're always welcome. Yeah, more small trees is a good idea. We can kind of block it with some nature. I'm trying to figure out, like, what to do with these spaces. You could always go to the object brush, go to nature, grab some trees, and just call it a day. Ooh, too big. Make that smaller, make that smaller. Go in here and get rid of the scaling average and randomness. Kind of too basic. Put some flowers at the bottom so it just feels kind of filled out. I want to find a good balance, you know what I mean? I'll come back to the trees in a moment. I'm going to put the ground layer, some flowers, some mushrooms, some stuff like that, and then we'll put the tree canopy over it. Sound good? So first things first, I'm going to go into regular objects here. Got all these mushroom types. Kind of want something kind of plain Jane. Middle of the road, maybe a mushroom like from Mario. I want it close to the water source. And also put like maybe another one over here next to it that's a little bit smaller and rotate it so it's not quite the same. Maybe even put one on the inside. Next, I'm gonna put some flowers. I really enjoy these ones for fill, and I like the idea that this place used a lot of the same flowers to fill areas. By the way, I'm just holding shift as I'm placing them, and it'll duplicate them automatically when you do that. You don't have to push that little plus button every time. Next, we'll add... I mean, here's the thing. There's reward mechanics built into D&D and Pathfinder, if I'm not mistaken, that are often not used. Like, I often give inspiration when a player does something cool, or when something cool happens in combat, you know, like, or they discover, like, solve a puzzle quickly, or beat a boss quickly. Half ogre, isn't that like a curse when you're watching the stream? You keep trying to rotate it. I know exactly how that feels. I do it all the time when I'm watching other streamers with DA. Put some trees, shall we? Put some happy trees. Put a happy little tree there. And another happy little tree here. We're going to shrink down this tree. Fit it in between these trees. Hanging over the hedge a little bit. He's ambitious. Want to spread it out, but also, like, seems like there's coverage. Lots of color difference. Like the season's just transitioning. All right. I think that looks pretty good. Finally, that dead space looks reasonable. It's bothering me so much. Save, shall we? It's been a minute. Trying to flatten out the road here to prep it. Like we got it all the way to the edge there. Honestly, though, too, like I said earlier, I really let the players kind of dictate what's going to happen more often than not, because they'll say things that I don't plan on, and it ends up leading to some interesting scenarios. Like, you could set up your session as much as you want, prepare for it for days, weeks, months. You could railroad your players to the end of the universe, and they'll still throw you for a loop. This biome I'm in right now, I'm in forest at the moment, my friend. Good palette. Grasslands is a little bit more diverse than forest, but I like the forest palette. too far with that one, so I gotta undo it. Waiting for the undo. No! I did too much. I did too much! Gotta let go of that left click sometimes in between. That way it spreads out your brushes into different undo elements. Really badly misaligned on my part. So what I like to do is mix some hedges together. I'm probably going to need to have an area that you can come through here somewhere. Probably there. Like I could have the path bend through here. That seems reasonable. So in the grassland biome, here I'm going to save really quick and I'll show you. I don't want to change biomes and lose all my objects, so I'm just going to generate a new one. Every biome has different paints. I'm not sure why this is. The grasslands biome is one of the older biomes, so it's possibly the case here that it has the most terrain paints as a result. But the grasslands biome seems to have the most options when it comes to terrain paints when you look at this. The last one only had like 4 or 5. This one has double that. You have sand, which is amazing, right? Like the jungle biome doesn't even have sand. Okay, you have like different, terrain paints you can mix in with it. Some are stronger than others, though. And a lot of them will paint these little like plants with them, and you don't really have a choice in the matter. The only way to get rid of it is to find a terrain brush that lacks those paints. So the forest brush is a little bit more forgiving in that regard, that it doesn't have a lot of these like flowing, like just extra like shrubs and stuff. But at the same time, it also offers this, which I find incredibly useful. You could use it for islands and all sorts of stuff. Yep, you can start with a jungle, like a grasslands island, for instance. So if you just set this up as a, say, hills island, no vegetation, generate. And we'll probably, unfortunately the size is going to be prohibitive here, but you get the idea. Didn't you say they gave him a headband of intellect and it caused him to have an existential crisis or something? Because he got too smart. So you could take this and do sandy beaches around the edges of your island. Then towards the center, you can have more plant life, or you could keep extending the beaches in some areas to have like a nice strand. And then just take like the jungle brush under here. You have all these nature brushes, and one of them has jungle trees and the other has jungle plants, right? Done. So it made us a little desert island. Didn't take long at all. An X marks the spot. All right, Marty, it looks good. Didn't take long to make either. You know, I think after I finish the Ancient Cemetery, I'm going to focus on smaller builds. Instead of like big, massive, long theme builds, long form builds, I'll do like small ones like this where I demonstrate how to do something really quick. Like I'll try and build an entire map in 30 minutes or less. That way it's like so much easier to demonstrate a topic, and I could probably cover one or two per stream. Oh, like the palm trees crossing. Too bad we don't have any slanted palms, huh? Call me Cupid. Thank you for the love. Appreciate the kind words. Call me Cupid. I just gotta repeat this because it's so wholesome. Call me Cupid on Twitch says, God, I love you guys. This is such a passionate project, and I'm so grateful to have DA. Well, thank you for the love and the kind words. First off, I appreciate you dropping in and saying it. How are you doing today? What brings you into my neck of the woods? Is there anything you need help with? You just hanging out? Vibing? Driving? Does anyone want to know how to make this ocean seem really deep? Like in a few clicks? It's really easy, actually. So a lot of islands will have like a drop-off point after their like kind of like sand shelf where all their like the life is, right? So like the other day, I had a dream that my boss asked me to come up with a new catchphrase for Dungeon Alchemist. And in the dream, I like came up with hundreds of them, right? And then none of them were good. I hated them. And it seemed like a sitcom episode, like I worked at an advertising agency or something, because of how like on the nose it was. And I was like, these are all awful. And then finally I was just kind of like relaxing, like not thinking about it, and I came up with like the ultimate name or like the ultimate catchphrase for our brand. And it ended up like saving the day or something. I don't like, it was really silly. But I don't know why I just thought of that. Like this conversation kind of slightly reminded me of it a little bit, where you said you make dreams come true, because that was kind of like part of it, some of it. So this object here is called an abstract, and you can place these anywhere on your map, and you can insert custom images into them, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to put a solid black image in there, and then I'm just going to sink this into the ocean a little bit off the coast. Maybe a little bit further out, like that. And as you could see, it just makes that feel so deep. Just has a drop off there, right? Like a shelf. Bork! Hey, Shifting Wolf, how you doing? Let's put a token here and see what the drop-off looks like. This feels very Sea of Thieves, though. Oh, man. Oh, that's terrifying. I do not want to go there. There's a shark waiting for me, I know it. Fighting a food coma. It's not Thanksgiving yet. What did you eat that put you in a food coma so early? I gotta hear this. Sounds delicious, just from that. Like, Yeah, if the water gets that dark, I don't want anything to do with it because everything in it can see you much better above than you can see them below. Homemade spaghetti? Ah, oh, you know, I always love me some spaghetti. Okay, so last night I was watching like little clips from a documentary and I learned a funny name for something that I've called something else. So like in Vegas there's this restaurant here where they make these like I guess it's like a loaf of bread, like a you know, and they carve it out and they put a bunch of like spaghetti in it or pasta, whatever your preferred pasta is, and it's called a fat baby. I never heard it called anything else till this documentary. They said it was called an Italian ice cream cone, and that made me laugh so hard because I am like a portion Italian, and like my family would love that. They would think it's hilarious. Like it was just this. It was just imagine full of meatballs, this big bread thing hollowed out, and it looked so delicious. So you just reminded me of that with the homemade spaghetti. Hey Ninja, how you doing? Good old murky deep, right? That is where there be dragons there, right? What I like to do with islands like this is put a few like holes where you dig in the ground. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole. Diggy diggy hole. Put a little hole, a few holes everywhere. You could put some shovels on them or like let's see here. You could take and there's like dirt piles like these. These are great to put to the side when you're digging. Just something like this. Looks like someone's been busy here. Cloud Loveless asks, is there a way to put a light shining down in a room like in a cave? Yes, there is. Let me show you. I'll generate a new map just to do that for you. So we'll go into the cave biome, which is the optimal place to do this. I'm going to start with solid rock to further demonstrate my point, but you can generate any cave system you want, and this will still work, except for maybe ridge, because there's no walls around it. So we'll do solid rock. That or the X could have just appeared as the tide came in and it washed away the sand or something. It could be like a big stone X or something more permanent. Okay, so when you're building a cave, in the cave biome, you have the option to do a solid rock cave where you could carve the cave manually. I do this to just demonstrate this point for you. So I'm just going to carve this cave here, right? Notice in the terrain tool, you click here. This is, I believe, 7. It's 9. If you press 9, it automatically goes to this. You have a bunch of tabs in the terrain tool, so you can raise and lower terrain. You can paint terrain. If you go to the draw cave tool, this is very important when you're using caves at all, because it draws caves ideal for exporting with virtual tabletop in mind. Wherever this black line is, it creates a line of sight. There's other tools involved here where it says erase cave ceiling. This is very important to you, actually, Cloud Loveless. If you come in here and just erase the ceiling, notice how the light peered in when I did that? I'm going to undo that so you can, oops. So you can redraw the ceiling, erase the ceiling. And this is great, say, in caves in mountains, sometimes there's an area where there's a big gaping hole that seeps in, like where there's another entrance, right? And it's like a natural skylight. Or it could be an area that something broke through all of a sudden. Now, when you look at this in first person, it's very different. You can actually see the day sky. Versus if I remove this, oh, let's draw it back in. Make it boring. Now it's dark. There is no light above. So this will be, that's a great way to allow the light in from an external source. This also, it tends to happen like when you're near the edge of a map. Light can seep in at a cave opening as well because the light can get in there. So you can actually see light there. But you could have little points where it's collapsed in. It might be a cenote where it's like caved in and you could have some water, or there's an opening above. You could do lots of things with this. This also applies to buildings. In a building that you've generated, whether it's in a cave or not, doesn't matter. I'll just generate a building to demonstrate this. Hopefully there's, oops, I generated it without walls. So let's generate it with floors and walls. Junk happened here. Okay, so gonna put a token in here just to demonstrate this first. Look up, it's dark. That means that's an immersion ceiling. It's just blacked out. That means there's a ceiling. Now, if you go into the room tool, edit room, select this room, you can then open it to show the sky. Right? Now, pair that with the cave tool and erase the ceiling. If this were outside, it would automatically just show, you know, light, whatever. But now this is open to the sky, even though it's in a cave. You know, alternatively shifting Wolf, you could always, you'll let that DM you know and care about, know about Dungeon Alchemist. If you're not currently DMing yourself. It's also that time of year where, you know, we should be spreading the cheer. Just going to put that out there. DM gift, yes. If there's a DM you know and care and love about, maybe throw them a copy of Dungeon Alchemist on Steam. You know, not like shamelessly promoting us or anything, but, you know, take that as you will. I'm really hoping we're going to be part of the Black Friday sale. Fingers crossed, right? Knock on wood. I have been asking the devs about it to see if we'll be part of it, and I haven't gotten a solid word back yet on it, so hoping we're like in the find out phase soon. So you can let light into other buildings too from the outside, or just see the outside from the inside. This is really useful in a lot of ways. So I'm just going to draw a room over here just to show you. So we're in a normal outdoor biome, no cave, right? When you're inside this building as a token or a whatever, this token's so large it won't fit in there. And I tried to demonstrate this in the cave biome, but it's not really cooperative. The sky will be grayed out from above there to, it's like an immersion ceiling. Our next update's going to do away with this, by the way. There will be actual ceilings and roofs and multiple floors in the next update. If anyone likes to see some teasers about that, let me know and I'll show some here in a moment. So as you look at this, you know, kind of setup here. Wow, I totally ruined the door. Oh, thrash metal, man. You got like a con cold or something? Pax, pox, con, COVID. Or you just were traveling and met a lot of people and happened to get all that. So notice when I walk in, it grays out the sky. When I'm outside, it's blue. This can be changed through the draw room panel. Select the room, the edit room tool tab up here. Select the room and then show the sky. When you're in here, it will, in fact, show the sky. This is neat in several ways. If you happen to change the weather to like allow snow, it actually allows it to snow inside that building because the roof is no longer there. Whereas if you go over to this chapel, there is no snow inside, but there's snow all around outside. and inside of this building without a roof. I'm going to undo this building because I don't need it. Okay, let's continue this road back here, finish it out. By the way, throughout the stream, I'm going to be focusing on a build you can watch, share, feedback and suggestions towards the build. You can also ask questions, whether it's related to the build or you just have questions about Dungeon Alchemist in general, whether it's your own map, exporting, how to accomplish a certain task or a certain feature, thing like that. Let me know and I'll do my best to provide guidance. Kind of veered a little bit there. Don't like that. Meh. Don't like that. Let's turn on the grid here so we can try to keep it along at least this. A lot more aligned. So Dungeon Alchemist at its core is a map-making utility and immersion tool. Its primary focus is building maps, which can then be printed or exported as a digital format like a JPEG or an MP4 or a WebM, which can then be used on a TV tabletop or a projector tabletop for like home play. Alternatively, you can export your map for print through our partner Kraken War Games. They print massive map mats on neoprene. They're waterproof, really, really nice quality map mats, and they make them, all sorts of shapes and sizes. Lastly, you can export for virtual tabletop. So Dungeon Alchemist is compatible with a number of virtual tabletops, which is a system of tool used to play tabletop games virtually, online or in person. So Foundry is a really popular tool we're compatible with. Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Above VTT, just to name a few. Above and beyond that, basically Dungeon Alchemist maps, you make the map in DA, then you export it for your preferred platform, whether it's a virtual tabletop, playing in person, or whatever, and then the map goes to that system. If it's a virtual tabletop like Foundry, for instance, or Roll20, we export with lighting, line of sight, walls, windows, doors, etc. So all that data is provided with the export as a separate file. So you get the map image or video as an animated map, and then the map file, which helps speed up session prep and saves time in the overall scope of things as a DM. If you're playing in person, the maps are high quality, detailed, very beautiful 3D detailed maps. And that's part of the allure with Dungeon Alchemist, is you have just all this beautiful 3D detail that you can look at all sorts of angles, take screenshots with our cinematic camera, record videos, or you could just simply stream this for your players over like Discord or Zoom or Skype, some sort of tool similar to that. Lastly, you can place a token and walk around the map in first person to record screenshots or video. Now, that being said, a lot of people in our community still use Dungeon Alchemist for play, despite our best efforts to say it's not meant for it. There's an entire subset of our community who use Dungeon Alchemist exclusively for their games. They'll make maps, and then they play in person with like a TV tabletop or online. There's no multiplayer support. The DM will just move the tokens around for the players, because you can turn on a grid, you can add tokens, you have a lot of control over the map in real time this way. You can, let's say your players burnt this, you could delete it or add fire to it in real time while they do that. So it adds a lot of fun to it in that aspect. more than most, like a printed map definitely can do this, could not do this. I mean, it could be printed with the fire on it, but that's about it. If you're playing in person, like on a TV tabletop, I feel Dungeon Alchemist as a standalone tool can pretty much solve all your problems. If you're playing in person, you usually roll with physical dice. You usually manage all your rules yourself, and you have character sheets to help manage inventory and, all that stuff, right? HP, abilities, spells. So if you have a map with the tokens on it, it really solves a lot of the problems of everything in between. There are plenty of people in our community who play exclusively using Dungeon Alchemist. But that being said, it's not really what it's meant for at this time. The devs have said after we leave early access, we may offer something like VTT Lite features, allowing you to use Dungeon Alchemist as a limited VTT with like Fog of War and stuff like that. Alex Kettle, thank you for that follow over on TikTok. Much appreciated. Welcome to the Damn Fam. How are you doing today? Sorry, I'm super focused on lining these hedges up. Buxuses, as we would call them. It just... Oh man, it is veering so much. I think the problem is it had a big veer up here that I didn't even notice. Haha, nice. Well, welcome to the stream. And if you have any questions about what you're looking at, please let me know. But just a general background. This is a map making utility for tabletop games such as like D&D or Pathfinder. It allows you to build maps and then export them for print or your virtual tabletop of choice. It also is just fun to build maps in. I actually find it very cathartic. It's a great little bit of therapy to a degree. If you enjoy games like Sims or whatever, it does have the similar appeal. It would be able to, our next update will actually allow you to do that to a degree. Not quite like what you're saying, but very similar, Thrash Metal Man. So there is a feature in the next update. In fact, let me just show you some of those new features, shall we, for a minute? This new feature in the next update, this is very much work in progress, not a finalized feature, allows you to make a brush of any object. Now, I was shown a demo of this in real time. Basically, we offer the object brush, but it's only for certain objects, which means we handpick the objects and made brushes for them. This allows you to pick any object from the object menu or an object you downloaded from the Steam Workshop and then turn it into a brush. Now, what was shown to me is objects that automatically snap to a grid, i.e. walls, or, stuff like that, they can be painted like that too. So as long as the ground's flat and the brush is set to not scale and do a bunch of randomness, so if it's set to just basic size, it will paint walls really quickly in a quick, simple line. It's not quite a spline brush where you have full control over the line. It'll just kind of fit to the snapped if it's a snappable object. If it's a non-snappable, you have more control in that you can paint it as a line. In fact, you can kind of make like improvised like spike walls, like from like maybe you made like a quick fort or a bandit camp or something like that. The object brush already supports that. Using, if you hop into it and go to the woodwork section, these are great for making like a quick fence or a wall. but only certain objects are excel at this time. This here is an object from the workshop, the Steam workshop. I went on the workshop tab and I hit browse assets, and then you just search path is what I think I found it under. There's a bunch of different shapes and stuff, and I managed to make the entire path out of these shapes. Got a little creative. As you can see, it's not like perfect by any means. In fact, like here, I'll probably have to come up with something to conjoin these over a time. Do something like this to start, and then slowly bend over there. It's already too much of a bend. Probably should start it with it like right here. See what I mean? Like there's not a lot of shapes to work with, so you got to get creative. How you doing, Calazon, by the way? Welcome back. I'm going to flatten the terrain too before I do this. A lot of steps go into making stuff like this, kind of in the correct order. But I'm assuming this is the ones you're talking about, right? This little section I did by hand. This is just a bunch of stones, broken stones. The rest was just essentially objects from the workshop. These little bounding boxes, that's actually a half wall that I sunk into the wall, into the ground. Once I disabled collisions, it allowed me to sink it in. Ugh. I think we need to flatten this out a bit. Let's see if these line up at all. Nope. Well, we're gonna have a stair. Hey, Cosmic, how you doing? Welcome back. Okay, let's show another teaser from the update. This is very much a work in progress, missing some stuff. There's clipping, missing textures, but it illustrates how multi-floor transitioning is starting to come together and allowing you to snap multiple levels together on a single, like, foundation. A lot of work to go, but it is very much coming along. So if you kind of get a glance of what you're seeing here, there's a lot of different things going into this, making it work simultaneously. Obviously, stair transitions between these spaces, making sure objects are the correct like heights and like don't clip into the floor above like this like cross there does. Getting textures for ceilings, depreciating and kind of adjusting all of our pillars and stuff like that. A lot of work is going into this. And from what I've been told, this is pretty much near completion. This video is not a good near completion demo, but the overall the feature is close to feature complete. Yeah, we search path, they come up as well. Uh-oh. So in this clip here, it shows a good demo of kind of a ceiling. Also shows a great like demonstration of the transition between, you know, one room to another. So one thing, in order to properly accommodate to, you know, many of the objects that clipped over the wall's edge, or like the shield, or like a torch or something, a pillar, fireplace, whatever. We raised the walls, gave them this sort of bumper, riser, if you will, and then that will accommodate for the ceiling in the next update. Oh, Alex, yeah, what question did you have about doors? I'd love to ask. So Dungeon Alchemist allows you to rapidly generate rooms using a bunch of presets. Obviously, you can build rooms and customize them with whatever objects you want. But this allows you to rapidly generate, say you wanted a wizard's tower. You could make the shape. Here, I'm going to go 10 by 10 so I can actually make it circular. And as you can see here, I can raise or lower this into the ground, whatever. I'm going to raise it up a bit and then generate it. And then it generates a structure really quickly and fills it up with objects based on the rough layout. Now, I don't really like where this door is. I'm going to move it over here so it lines up more with this path. Then I'm going to regenerate the structure, and it'll kind of realign its placement around the door. That's how our AI kind of works. And you can rapidly generate it over and over again, and it'll kind of fill it up with a basic arrangement of objects. But at the end of the day, you can always come in here and put in whatever objects you want. There's over 6,500 stock objects. Plus, on the workshop, there's another 6,500, so you essentially double your collection, getting you up into around 13,000 total objects at your disposal. With doors, you can, you know, add doors to all around a wall shape like this. There's different archways. There's all sorts of different door types you can use. So as long as there's a wall, a door, or a window can be attached to it. All sorts of different window types. And I just undid that entire build. Okay. I'm gonna save, and I think we're gonna take a quick break. I need to go fill up my water. Kind of stretch my legs for a little bit. We'll take like a quick 5-minute. By the way, I did not notice these in the last little bit. I gotta say thank you to Marty and Shifting Wolf. Marty over on YouTube for the sub, Shifting Wolf for the follow here on Twitch. Much appreciated. Just a quick heads up, little reminder to everyone, we're actually multi-streaming on many different platforms right now. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok and Steam simultaneously. That's also part of the reason I might be a little delayed in answering your questions or responding to you, because I'm monitoring many different chats simultaneously. So I apologize if I missed, the subs, follows, any questions, suggestions, feedback. If I did miss it, please let me know again, and I will do my best to see that. I also have a moderator helping me currently if I miss anything. So typically between the two of us, the four eyes don't miss much. Oh, Shifting Wolf, you're from Belgium. So Dungeon Alchemist, the majority of the team is actually based in Belgium. And we're like our company is based in Belgium. Briganti Dungeon Alchemist is headquartered in Schotten, if I believe that's what it's called. Schotten. I don't know if that's the pronunciation. I'm one of the only employees who is out of Belgium, based in the U.S. Schoten? You'd think I would know how to pronounce this stuff. Okay, let's put a little bit of grass here. Kind of just making this pathway up to this edge a little bit cleaner. Some areas you can see some stone bleeding through. That makes it a lot cleaner looking. Also going to raise the terrain here because I noticed that actually a little bit lower. A little bump there at the corner. So I think what we're going to focus on next is this area. I was thinking of making this graves that are like saints, i.e. former like preachers and people like part of the church. I put all these statues around to kind of represent that, but I also kind of feel like maybe we should have their graves. This is a good idea for this little plot. It's attached to the main road and the chapel. Gasai, thank you so much for the kind words. I've been working on this map a little bit now, about an hour a week for the last month and a half, 2 months. We call it Mapmaker Monday. Every Monday we kind of focus on building and expanding this build to make it more detailed and have more to it. It started as this corner here of a cemetery, and then it's just kind of expanded. We put in some plots. More fancy kind of gated, estate plot. We've been doing kind of road work, making this big cross section with a center fountain. Honestly, a lot of people in our community compare Dungeon Alchemist to Sims meets D&D. And I agree with that a lot. Sims it definitely has a sort of primal, I don't know. It definitely, a lot of people vibe with it. It's been around for a long time. I remember playing it when I was like 10 years old, the original Sims. And it's kind of a timeless game that is essentially withstood the test of time, if you will. And there's a lot to it. There's a big fan base that is very, 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 happy when new content's released for it. Dungeon Alchemist is just a focus on building maps. It's that cathartic feedback of just building the map without having to worry about keeping your Sims alive or worrying about the drama of their interpersonal lives. So it is nice in that regard, to a degree, to not have to worry about all that. But then at the end of the day, I'm just going to take this map and take it and put it in a D&D session where my players are going to be even worse than Sims. So really, I'm just setting myself up for more of the same. I do think, like part of my interest in Dungeon Alchemist at its core is games where I was able to build maps, or hand drawing maps for D&D tabletop and stuff like that, and in school. I mean, you admit it is very true. I've had PCs sit at a door that was unlocked for 4 hours because they weren't sure it was magical or had a trap or unlocked. No one was willing to jiggle the handle. So, I mean... So, Alex over on TikTok asks, is there a shifting texture like when you have a building that looks old but can be restored? So we offer a bunch of different room types, and one of the sub-room types is abandoned ruins. So there are a few you can generate that look broken. You can generate a building that will have walls that look run down, and the insides look a little torn up. And so at the end of the day, yes, there's tons of objects and wall types and things like that to accommodate to a run-down sort of abandoned chapel or a mansion. You can use these walls on other buildings, and you could just generate this without the objects inside, for instance, right? Let's regenerate this structure. And now I have... Why is none of the walls broken? Here, let me delete that. That is weird. I think I just found a bug. I'm going to generate this chapel without any objects in it. And we could essentially make an abandoned tavern, just use the walls. Because you can generate a room without any objects inside and then just use it as a framework. So you could use any of the wall types from another room and then fill it with objects that you want. So if maybe you don't want an abandoned chapel or a hovel or whatever, then at the end of the day, you don't have to be constrained to that. It's just a wall type. But each of the rooms that you can generate has wall types tied to them that they will randomly choose through as it generates. Or you can go in and change the wall after the fact to any wall you want from our subset. So we have some ruined walls to choose from. We have, iron, metal walls, gilded walls, cast iron, all sorts of wood walls, plaster, stone or brick. You can go through these and, generate a room of any type and then attach any of those walls to it instead, if you're not happy with it. We also have just as many doors and windows and floor types. So let's say you generate a room, you're not happy with the floor it makes, you can go in and change the floor. I really prefer hand building everything. That's kind of what I've been doing through the stream, is making everything by hand. But there is a lot of AI guided tools in Dungeon Alchemist. And when I say AI, I don't mean it like modern day stuff you hear about, like from ChatGPT or Midjourney or anything like that. That's what's called generative AI. And I would consider that like next gen modern AI. Dungeon Alchemist uses what's called procedural AI. Kind of last gen AI. It's a little bit outdated, but it also is very good for this purpose. And when you use the Dungeon Alchemist AI, you can know very wholesomely that without a doubt that it was made and developed ethically. The AI was made entirely in-house. No maps or public art or assets or anything like that were used to train our AI. Additionally, all the assets in Dungeon Alchemist that are used in the AI were made entirely in-house by our talented team of artists. So when the Dungeon Alchemist AI is brought up, everything about it from head to toe was we considered all the ethical concerns, especially with modern AIs, and we wanted to make something that saves time and people can use it without any worries or issues of ethics, and are proud of the product. So at the end of the day, we feel saving time while making maps for D&D is a good use of AI. It's one of probably the best uses out there. Something that helps you save time so you can spend more time with your players and just enjoy the game. Yeah. One thing you know that you can always rely on, you can lean on our community a bit if you're not really the best builder. As you get better with practice and time, you can hop into the workshop, right? There's over 10,000 maps shared on the workshop, and this number grows daily. You can sort them by most popular, so see what people have voted on. You can sort by most recent, see like what is the newest stuff dropping on the workshop. But with over 10,000 maps at your fingertips, you can pretty much find anything you need. A lot of the most popular like modules and campaign book maps are available here already because people have made them and shared them. A lot of times you can find something you like that'll work for your needs if you just search, a few key phrases or browse for a little bit. So I just been informed that I have run past our time for today, which I usually keep track of that, but I just didn't notice, so I ran a little long today. Usually the stream runs from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific, and it's now 11:30. So I guess y'all get me for a little bit extra today, an extra half hour while we discuss DA and showcased all the various cool things you can do with it. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. I would like to ask a small request of everyone watching currently. If you enjoyed the stream and you like what you saw, think Dungeon Alchemist is interesting or cool to watch, or you may find yourself building maps with it someday, could you do me a favor and drop us a follow, a like, a subscribe, whatever it is on your platform of choice, whatever you're watching from right now? That way you can find us in the future on our next stream. I would really very much appreciate that because depending on the platform, like for instance TikTok, we're algorithmic based. If you don't follow the stream, you may miss out on our next stream in the future because you may not notice it on your FYP otherwise. TikTok, you get alerts when we go live if you're following the stream, if you have notifications on, so it's great. Same thing with YouTube and Facebook. Etc. So I do appreciate very much if you drop those likes, subscribes, follows. It helps you keep notified to upcoming streams and helps our community grow as a whole. Just a little bit of news and information before we go on. Upcoming streams. Our next stream is on Wednesday. That is the office hour stream that's held on our Discord. It's exclusive to our Discord. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific till 12 p.m. Pacific. That would be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. UTC. For those across the pond, you can extrapolate from there. I would love to have you here for that, but it is totally optional and it is exclusive to our Discord. It's not a multi-stream like this one is today across all our platforms. It's held just in our Discord server because Discord can't be included in the multi-stream, so we do a stream every week just for them. Anyway, it's a great place to get live support. The stream is AMA format, which stands for Ask Me Anything. As long as it's Dungeon Alchemist related, you can come in with a whole list of questions and get your support inquiries dealt with. So whether you found a bug, you have suggestions, feedback, you need guidance in working with your maps or advanced concepts with maps, struggling with exports, whatever, pop in and I will provide guidance. During that stream, we showcase community maps and assets. We also just kind of hang out and vibe, get to know each other as cartographers and GMs. A lot of times we talk about people's campaigns, what they're doing in their campaign, what their players are doing, upcoming, maps, encounters, homebrew ideas, stat blocks, etc. It's a great place to bounce ideas off of other GMs and see if what you're coming up with actually makes sense. Always get a couple extra eyes on it, and some extra feedback is always nice. Now, additionally, that stream, we tend to just kind of have fun. Sometimes we bounce off the subject and we stop talking about Dungeon Alchemist altogether and start talking about art or music or movies, pop culture, etc. So it's just a fun place to chill, get to know each other as community members, and hang out. That is office hours every Wednesday. Every Saturday, we host a stream that is a multi-stream across all our platforms. The stream theme varies from week to week. Every other week is the Dam Challenge. Every opposite week is the Dam Stream. We had the Dam Challenge this last Saturday. The Dam Challenge is a map making contest we host on our streams and Discord where people can show off their maps and for a chance to win a prize. The current theme is 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 6. If you just make a map that fits in that bounding box and submit it to the Dam Challenge channel using the rules pinned at the top to qualify. If you qualify, you have a chance to win a $10 Hero Forge gift card. Your map is featured first on our Dam Challenge stream, and you're featured in our weekly newsletter, the Cartomancer Chronicles, up here. Okay? But this upcoming stream is the Dam stream. It's more of a focus on community maps and community assets. So we essentially just browse through them and look at cool ones and share them with the community. And we provide, again, AMA support during that stream. The streams are really kind of a veiled support stream always, a place for you to pop in and get guidance or ask questions. So anytime you see a stream live, feel free to pop in and ask questions. We're here for you. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Sorry the stream ran a little bit long today. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Dungeon Alchemist is the map-making program you see in front of you. It is available on Steam. We offer a free demo where you can try before you buy, see if it works well on your computer, and if you like the style, get a feel for at least the forest biome, and you can build a tavern for free. Remember, that is only a small slice of what's available in Dungeon Alchemist. There's 13 biomes, like over 50 room types, thousands of objects, plus the Steam Workshop integration. Makes for a very powerful tool with lots of oomph under the hood that can get you a lot of, save you a lot of time in your week to week when it comes to making maps. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We'll see you next time I give a damn. Mac out. Bye. Oh, hey, thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. See you later, everyone.